A little something about Dangerous here. You see, back in high school, I ran with a gang and I was straight up gangsta, yo. Okay, I wasn't in the gang, but I was straight up gangsta. Okay, fine. If you all want to know, back in high school, I was that guy who did the Naruto run. And I did the Naruto hand signs. Don't judge me. Hi everybody, I'm Dangerous and welcome to another fun-filled, educational episode of Let's Talk Anime. You know, speaking of education, let's talk about education just for a brief moment, please. It's important. You need to know how to do adding and subtracting and geometry and algebra and biology and how to dissect a frog if you're ever going to work at McDonald's. But seriously though, education is pretty important. I mean, yeah, it's okay to know like reading and science and, you know, basic arithmetic, but there are things that schools don't normally teach, and that's life lessons. But a school should be teaching life lessons. It's important to know how to go off into the world and survive. I mean, come on. What are you gonna do? Just drop out of school and end up hosting a show about anime during a time where you can't really go to work at the moment because of you gotta keep people safe? Anyway, fun fact about Dangerous here. I work at a school. And it's stressful, but at times it can be fun because I get to encourage and educate the young minds of tomorrow by teaching them a lot about anime. Oh, and all those other subjects too. Working at a high school, I've learned that the relationship between the teacher and the student is a very important relationship. The reason being is because that teacher has the ability to make a huge impact on their students' future. How they act at that moment can determine how that student will be in the future. That's why it's important for a teacher to show support and be able to show encouragement so that way that student can succeed. They can even learn how to take over the world. The reason why I'm super passionate about this is because of today's anime. That can be found on Amazon Prime, which is More Than Meets the Eye. Transformers joke. Anyway, we're talking about Great Teacher Onizuka, or GTO for short. To understand GTO, you gotta understand one important thing. Teachers are a big fucking deal in Japan. It's important for a teacher to bond with the students in their class, to understand their likes, their dislikes, what they want to do when they graduate, or if they made up their mind. Help them in the right path to find out what is it that they like. See potential in students that goes beyond sports and academia and help them, you know, find what their passion was. High school was a very dark time for me. Anyway, the reason why this anime is such a big deal is because it's a teacher, but it's not your everyday teacher. And to better explain this, we have to take a look at its creator, Mr. Toru Fujisawa. If it's one thing I can tell you about Toru Fujisawa, it's this. There's some type of theme in what he likes as well as his other works. You see, one thing you gotta know, he is a huge fan of the anime series called Initial D. So yeah, you can say he likes the D. D. Q. Other letters in the alphabet. But he was also inspired by the anime Akira. You see, those two anime have a certain common theme. You've got basically street racing and motorcycle gangs. With that knowledge in mind, understanding GTO requires two things. You gotta understand the prequel as well as the sequel to the prequel, which was also a prequel to the prequel, and then the sequel, but then you gotta know the prequel first. But the prequel is also the sequel. But what am I talking about again? Oh yeah. Before there was GTO, you had Shonan Junai Gumi. This anime featured two unique protagonists. Ryuji and Ikichi, both friends who are members of the most notorious biker gang called the Onibaku Gang, which, if I am correct, means Demon Explosion. Bang, baby. These two were on a quest to achieve true maturity and to be men. That translates to losing their virginity. You know, it was like 80s, 90s, or whatever that jazz was. So, these two delinquents would go off and do everything in their power to attract girls. There's only one tiny problem. Yeah, they kind of failed at it. But you get to watch them grow. They put away their whole, wanting to be tough biker shtick and end up, mellowing out as they got older. The sequel series to Shonan Junai Gumi was called Bad Company. This was just a prequel to that series. I mean, all it was just showing how Ikichi and Ryuji ended up getting their motorcycles. But yeah, both of those two series took place in high school, and we got to see Ryuji and Ikichi. The reason why it's important is because now we fast forward into Great Teacher Onizuka, in which now I get to tell you the plot. Now, Ikichi Onizuka from the previous series is now 22 years old. And now he's a teacher, graduated from college and everything. He wants to be a teacher so he can influence young minds, or that wasn't his original plan. And now's the time for me to say that we here at Let's Talk Anime proudly supports the United States of America's legal age of consent. Japan's legal age of consent is disturbing. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not 100% for it. I don't feel like it is right. I don't care if it is legal. It still ain't right. But anyway, Onizuka originally wanted to pick up girls. But as time progressed, he realized that, you know what? I need to actually be a teacher and be some type of a good example for these kids. Some of these kids are coming from broken homes and bad backgrounds, and it's my job as a teacher to make sure they are on the right track and doing right. And that's basically the plot of the series. Onizuka, coming from a unique background as his, is now trying to teach new minds on how to take responsibility for yourself and be a better person for society. You can't just keep sitting around doing that immature shit. You gotta grow up, but when you do grow up, you gotta also like yourself too. Let's talk about the characters of this anime, shall we? Our first character is the title character himself, and the character from the previous series, Ikichi Onizuka. Onizuka used to come from a very, very frightening Bozozoku gang. The guy was a total shithead. But as he got older, he reformed his ways and decided to become a teacher. Why a teacher? Girls. But he realizes that all the kids in his classroom are, what's the word I want to say? Terrible. They've driven every previous teacher there insane. But Onizuka is a different case. The guy comes from a rough background. You're gonna try and fuck with an ex-gang member? Another thing about Onizuka is he's dedicated to the school to the point where he'll live at the school. Mainly because he has no home. No, seriously, he uses like the school's warehouse to sleep at. He has it made out to be a bedroom and everything. Onizuka is an idiot. And I'm not even exaggerating. He is 100% stupid. Onizuka is so stupid. At some point, when you're making money as a teacher, you should sit there and go, I'm gonna see if I can try and get an apartment. Nope. What's great about him is that he cares for his students, okay? He really wants to help them. All these students in his classroom have some type of demon. And by demon, I mean some kind of a problem or something they're struggling with. Onizuka comes in there and gives them tough love. That method of teaching helps Onizuka really form connections, and it helps the kids become better people. Case in point of his actions causing great change in the lives of his students, let's take a look at one of the worst kids of his classroom, Kunio Mirai. Mirai is basically a rude ass brat, okay? This kid is so fucking rude to Onizuka, it's not even funny. He shows them zero respect. But then again, Mirai had a bit of a really rough background. But through Onizuka, Mirai learns how to, be a better person. Even if it means Onizuka ties him to a bungee cord and pushes him off a bridge. Teaching. Our next character is none other than Asusa Fuyutsuki. To tell you the truth, there's not really much to her. I mean, the most I can tell you is she's like the opposite of Onizuka. Went to a great school and, has a crush on Onizuka. But dig this, all the female students in her classroom hate her because all the male students love her. Like that episode of South Park or whatever. But last, and certainly the least, is Hiroshi Uchiyamada. This man is the principal of the school. And man, oh my God, this man is a piece of shit, okay? He is a terrible principal, okay? He judges people, he judges the students. If there are students that are delinquents, he judges them being delinquents and doesn't even give them the benefit of the doubt in case they commit some kind of action. He always brags about how he has his wife, he has his kids, he has a house, okay? But his pride and joy is his car, okay? He loves his car with a burning passion, and he always, goes so hyped for it, okay? Like it's the greatest car in the world. And I bet you're wondering, what kind of car is this? He drives a fucking 96 Toyota Cresta. I hate him, and I'm so glad that his car gets destroyed a lot, courtesy of Onizuka. Fun fact, State Farm hates this man. Like a good neighbor, you're lucky that State Farm will even come for your stupid ass. Now, earlier you heard me mention Bosozoku. You see, Bosozoku is not just anything. It's a type of street fashion, but it's also a lifestyle, baby. The best way for me to explain Bosozoku is imagine biker gangs, but Japanese. You see, they were always known for wearing a certain type of style, okay? A lot of the times it would be like bandaged stomachs, wearing masks around their faces, having scars, sometimes having kind of like a pompadour hairstyle. They would also wear long coats, carry around banners showing what gang they were in. They would cut off like the mufflers off of their own vehicles just to be loud and obnoxious. Kind of like those douchebags who drive down the street blasting their cars. This theme is prevalent in GTO, as well as the previous works mentioned earlier. The reason being, it shows that people can change. And sometimes having a bit of a rough background can give you some pretty killer street cred. I mean, after all, what's the worst that students are gonna do? Photoshop your picture with the principal and make you look like a yaoi? Great Teacher Onizuka is still a big deal in Japan, okay? Despite this anime coming out around the 90s, it's still going on to this day with side stories and even having 2 live action iterations of the series. Fun fact, in one of the live action iterations of the series, okay, and check this out, this is really cool. The person who played Onizuka and the person who played Fuyutsuki actually got married in real life. Cute, huh? But yeah, you take everything, the Bosozoku, the teachers, and the meaningful life lessons, you've got yourself a kick-ass anime to binge watch right now on Amazon Prime. And speaking of Bosozoku, your boy, the Rangerous here used to be in a Bosozoku gang. Yep, and you can see the picture that proves it. And that picture is totally not from a Japanese fashion show I was a part of. It was. I'm not cool. Just recently, some kids at the school I work at told me that they really look up to me and that I really inspire them. And honestly, it makes me feel good on the inside. It goes to show you that you too can be a 20-year-old anime nerd and still make a huge impact in someone's life. So yeah, that was a fun, educational episode of Let's Talk Anime. If you like this episode, please do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, hit the bell icon so that way you get notifications and it gets the channel, you know, out and people think I'm cool and you're giving my existence and meaning and stuff. So yeah, and tune in next time where we're going to crunch down on an anime from Crunchyroll. Until then, peace out. Fuck. Okay. I swear to God, this poster is gonna be the fucking death of me. You hear that, Itachi? I'll fuck you up. Fuck you up more than Sasuke fucked you up. You got fucked up by Sasuke. That's actually, you know, you should be ashamed of yourself. Actually, it'd be worse if you got fucked up by Sakura. Sakura fucking someone else. Anyway.